important to me that Bernie Sanders is endorsed by Julian Casablancas because Casablanca is my favorite movie, and because if I told you the truth, I would be made of lies. That's another Spanish name. I'm splitting up words. I shouldn't drink another cup of coffee today. That would not be healthy. I gotta worry about my health. What if I get cancer or something from drinking coffee? That would be very bad. I don't want to drink too much coffee. It might make me manic. That might make me get some sort of disease from a wet market. I'm gonna eat like the pangolin. Don't eat pangolins. Pangolins give you coronavirus, especially Corona Light branded pangolins that are doused in Corona Light. That's very bad for you. When you're listening to something, instead of saying something, you better step up and say something. Yo, you better step up. You gotta not be nervous. Lose yourself in the moment. You own it. You better never let it go. You only got one shot. Do not miss a chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. On spaghetti, wheat, spaghetti, spaghetti. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Spaghetti, spaghetti, yo. Spaghetti, 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 yo. No, no. You don't trust celebrities. Don't trust them. Don't trust any celebrities. You gotta have an indie aesthetic, be conspiratorial. Don't trust anybody. Everybody is lying to you, including yourself. Including yourself. Don't take your medication. Take grass. Eat grass. Eat grass off of trees. Eat leaves. That's what you got to do, because that's what the Chinese do. They eat tigers. You got to eat a tiger. 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 Tiger woods. Tiger woods. Don't eat the tiger. Tiger woods. Tasmanian tiger in the tiger woods. Tigers. Fang tiger that's going extinct. The white tiger. The saber fang, saber tooth tiger. There's many tigers that you got to keep alive. Tigers that you got to keep alive in your soul, because those tigers are very valuable. Tigers are better than lions. Don't watch Lion King. Watch the Tiger Queen. The Tiger Queen is better than the Lion King, because the Tiger Queen is it's equal work. You don't have the women hunting and the men staying at home, which is what we have nowadays. We have failed sons and win daughters. That's what we have nowadays. And we need to stop that. We need to stop men staying at home and taking care of their, Bitcoin babies on their computers that cost more to mine Bitcoin than they get Bitcoin from mining. And there's a limited amount of Bitcoin, so that's not a sustainable model, either by the amount of fossil fuels that it uses, or by the fact that it's a limited amount of money. And money in the first place shouldn't be limited if people expand, because then each person has less money. And if you have less money and you are still making it into fractional amounts, then the more you make it into fractional amounts and you have a finite amount of money, then the more consolidation can happen, because there's the idea that there can't be that much inequity when there can be a lot of inequity, because just by scaling is what matters, not sort of being put inside of a scale where it's like, oh, you can only have this much of money. But the money represents everything, even though the money is limited. So that's my theory of currency, I guess. Now, um, preponderance towards certain resource sources, wanting for change, wanting for false change that is merely deterioration, a deterioration into a less diverse stock to represent a more essential stock, more essential form, but because it's lesser, it's more. This is a sort of minimalist approach to having things look different. Like, the less you have, the more argument you can make towards it being a comfortable choice. Because having a lot of choices causes decision fatigue, but having less choices and making it a more essential character trait, what choice you make, makes it less stressful, makes things more colorful, but it confuses variety in idea for variety in reality. Variety in reality can oftentimes be not really varying to people. Like if you had a variety of ways to die, that's still, there's a lot of sources, but for the same target that isn't considered good connotatively for variety. I think that's better. There's too much content to get in and no meaningful consolidation of it. To absorb and no meaningful consolidation of it. The idea in America seems preponderantly that you need a new source, a new discovery. But it's better make more natural creations to have a sense of and environmental preservation. That's right. Indeed, I like the Strokes. This is an 8-minute video, yo. I'm gonna brush my teeth because that's the next part of the video. This is brushing my teeth. This is a day in the life. Sun is shining in the sky. There ain't no word in mine. It's a blazing, it's a blazing, and don't you know? It's a beautiful display. Oh. The blue sky, don't tell me why I used to fly away for so long. So long, where to go? Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to fly away for so long. That's just my theory. Consumerism might have used to be a problem that we weren't self-conscious about, but now we kind of are. But we still do it because it's reasonable to have a certain amount of consumerism. It isn't something that you should fight against above, capitalism itself. I mean, sure, consumerism is sort of, you could say, with banks and stuff, yachts or whatever, or just justifying the industrial line itself, a way to justify the consolidation of wealth. It's very useful in that respect. Maybe I should brush more. But nowadays, especially, consumerism really has a different name because you can consume different things. You can consume actual products, whether they be expirable or whatever, or sort of less expirable food, or a chair, or maybe like a shitty chair from Walmart. But you can also buy services. And nowadays, services are a sort of symptom of the sharing economy, or really what it's called is the unstable work environment economy. I forget what the fuck it's called. Uh, Short work, 15 hours a day, which people oftentimes have to deprive you of like health insurance or whatever. Part-time work industry, which is largely the service economy. I like absorbing and consolidating though. It's the inhale to my common cough exhale. Listen to fucking Gerda. So the service economy is, you could say, a lot of just media in general provides you a service in more of the abstract. Like, it doesn't make things more efficient, but it's sort of an entertainment service that that is more of a good than a service. Like, if you bought something, then sure, that would be that way. But services tend to be less that you can buy them, or that you can mostly more that you can rent them. And this is like a home would be seen as somewhat of a service in this uh, way, because the service is letting you live in it. So you don't buy the home itself, you just rent it. And largely, people don't even own their homes. The bank owns their homes. At least that's what I know of it. What the fuck would I know? I can't own a home. It would take me like 80 years. Um, but so the services have eaten the economy, and we have to pay for them, which is part of the consolidation of wealth. That it used to be that it was industrial production, but now it's sort of financial capitalism instead. But not just financial capitalism. I feel that it's also uh, sort of service capitalism with whatever you buy, like water, homes, these basic services, not quite products, not even quite capital, that cost you the most. These essentials that have been really consolidated. What? Fuck. Bullshit. Cut off your ears. I'm a microphone. I got two turntables. So really the only argument nowadays isn't even quite ownership, because it's like there's no, it's too broad of a thing to own, but rather like who can capitalize on the water system, the electric system, the broadband, like wires under the sea or whatever, the server farms, a lot of server farms everywhere. And who do they serve? Do they serve us? I don't think so. It's a slow boil video, this one. And I feel like there's a finite supply of videos, so it's reasonable to sort of slow boil. But it's distasteful to make this like such an insightful thing, or even feel it's like slightly insightful. Because it's like obviously the the current capitalist model is founded around making services more complicated and more sinister and more able to fuck you over because, you know, if they were actually to run it efficiently, they'd profit less. You got the military industrial complex, they fuck up everything to get even more money. You could argue this is the government with like pork barrel spending and whatever people argue with like how they have to raise their budgets. I don't really quite know about that because I mean that would encourage cuts in the first place. And like just asking for more money, I don't know, it doesn't seem like quite a scheme of enrichment. It seems more like a scheme of inflation if you're like this big a part of the economy. So like what you're asking for more than like money to be redistributed to you is for the Fed to print more money, which is honestly just a mess. But I mean that's another service though, is the banks. What did these people actually fucking make? Oh God. Could there not be like a company for driving cars around that doesn't rip you off? Everybody has a fucking car. They just contract you. They don't give you a car or anything. You could like maybe make more money, like X-nay on the ust tray from other people. You can make more money just like driving around by yourself. It's just the app that you need to find customers. But Lyft and Uber, what do they provide anyway? I mean, I guess like a small sort of stipend. Sounds kind of bizarre. There doesn't need to be that overhead, but I guess in general, people tend to deserve it bunny ears because like they let them be in charge or whatever. They don't really take charge of it themselves, or I don't know. It's kind of a boring system. Capitalism is increasingly boring, especially because it lends to a conspiratorial thing, perhaps more than government. I mean, government, granted, has a lot of like figureheads, but you also have like the deep state, which is more or less conspiratorial than actual politicians. I don't really know, but corporations, their deep state can be entirely uninvolved, unaware of stuff. So, like Wells Fargo, they just have their employees defraud people, and then they blame the employees for it when they were the people in charge saying, do this or you're fired. But eh, he said, uh, Gerda, be selective about your influences. And I feel like the idea sort of metabolism in our current system is just like, you can always come up with a better idea, which is misleading. And I think
you really have to, instead of like being on your own Homeric journey, like get into agreement with people about certain things to like get ideas across, to like not just, of course there's a certain entrepreneurial streak where maybe some people will be like, oh, people definitely don't need this bullshit invention, but that can't be like universal. And I think generally competition in capitalism is overrated between businesses, sure, but between like workers in the same business, I feel like that's a bit fragmentary. So it could use some like cooperatives, like worker owned businesses where you can vote on the wages and stuff. But that's such an abstract idea because I feel like nobody has an idea of like the system of production, or even like how much that idea of production actually holds. Are we actually producing things in our economy? Of course we are still, because you can't like download a taco, but how much of the stuff behind that is like actual production, and how much of this stuff is like services, selective service, to use a sort of pun, like a draft. But the draft is sort of, you want it to happen but it doesn't, like the transportation of food to markets. Then further transporting that, you could just pay people directly to transport it to your house, but instead you have them in markets which like mark up the price or whatever. Or you could even like pay people, I don't know, a bunch of wasted food. Is that a valid complaint? Can we unwaste the food? I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I don't trust people who, I have the urge not to trust people who say it's not possible, because that seems like yeah, sure. You have these like massive crater ships, freighting ships, that transport a bunch of stuff, but you can't get it last like mile or two. That seems kind of like a La La Land complaint. But I mean, I guess fuck it. Yeah, that's the message of the video.